Hello my crafty friends, welcome to A Crafter's Story. My name is Celeste and I put up on my Facebook group, it's called Our Crafter's Story. I put up these freebies. I put up a freebie every Friday, so if you are interested in joining our group, please look at the link in the description below. And I promised that I would show you guys how I was able to make the backgrounds for these pictures. And what I used was, I'm going to call it a faux felt. I guess it could be a faux suede as well. I don't think it's quite a faux leather, but it is this paper, this handmade paper that I make, that I used as the backing for these pictures, and I did it digitally, so I can't show you how I do it here, but I promised that I would show you how I make the paper. And so these are free for you to download on the Facebook group if you decide to come and join us, and it's also a place where you can put up any of your projects if you choose to. Excuse me. So these borders are all the different colors, and why I brought out this journal is it's the very first journal I ever made, and one of the very first crafts I ever did, and it was just for myself, was to make this handmade paper that I then used to cover this journal. So it's super easy, but it just always makes me a little nostalgic when I bring this journal out. The inside is pretty basic because it was my first one, but this outside is always very special to me. So let me show you how I make the paper, and then I'm going to try and recreate to a degree this cover for another journal. Okay, so I have been making a few of these, so this little tray of mine is already a little dirty, but it's okay because I'm going to just reuse it. And all you really need, you guys, is some wet wipes, and they can be dirty wet wipes that you use to clean up your station, which is oftentimes what I use. And then some just dollar store wet wipes. I do prefer the thicker wet wipes. The Fisher Price is a bit thinner. The Huggies is a little thicker, and I prefer the thicker one. So with this Fisher Price, I'm going to use 2 wet wipes to make a page of our paper. And I've already made a bunch of them. I've got a couple of pieces here that I've cut up. This is the green one. Here is some of the red, and there is some of the blue. There is, let me show you, I've already started putting together the quilt with other pieces that I've made. So this is the quilt, but it needs to be bigger both this way and that way for it to fit around, for me to be able to cover this entire composition book cover. It's an old composition book. I've used up the pages. I've pulled those out. So I've got this nice cover that I can cover with my handmade paper quilt. But I don't have enough, so I'm going to make more. And you guys, I would love to invite you to come and join me and see how I make it. Okay guys, sorry, and I didn't mention the other thing that you're going to need are some tea bags and white glue. So I've got my tray. I have put down my 1 layer of the baby wipe, and I'm going to get some glue down on the baby wipe. I think it might be easier if it's a bit wetter, so let me spray it. Just get it nice and wet and get a little bit of that glue. Oops, maybe a little bit too much of the glue. It's okay. It's okay. So put down a little bit of the glue. Now, if you have that thicker Huggies, you're not going to need a second layer. Just found, and you may not even want to put down a second layer if you like the thinner paper. I prefer it a little thicker if I'm going to use it as a book cover. But I suppose if it was going to be just a page in a journal, or if I was going to use it as part of my collage fodder, maybe I wouldn't mind it just being one layer. For me, however, I prefer the thicker one. All right, so let's spray this a little bit, and it's just easier to smooth the glue across and get some of that glue down on this second layer. Our third layer will be the tea bags, but first I'm going to put down a little bit of color, and that's going to be my red food coloring. If you don't have food coloring, you can use watered down acrylic paint or watered down watercolor paint. Alcohol inks would work as well. If you don't have food coloring is just really inexpensive, and so I tend to use that more than anything else. I'm gonna be a little generous. Let's see if I can do this without getting it on my fingers. This might be a first, guys. I probably spoke too soon. Okay, so there is the food coloring, and since the glue is already down and there's a little bit of water there, I am able to spread this food coloring all across, really get that glue in there. Okay, there it is. Now I'm going to put down a tea bag there. Tea bag, let's use the red ones, red on red. And then I don't need a complete tea bag in the middle here, so I'm going to just get these to lie down. Gosh, I really do have a lot of red. I might have overdone but it's okay. And the reason why I put tea bags down as my third layer, in this case third layer, if you have the thicker Huggies it would be your second layer, is because it gives it that, it's a softer feel, and then there's sometimes a little bit of pattern like here that comes through, and I just feel like it gives it that little bit of texture and sort of a velvety feel afterwards. Let me get a little extra glue down here, and now I'm just going to leave this to dry. Depending on how much water you put down or what your heat source is, so if you're able to put it outside in the sun or in front of a heat source, like near a fireplace or a heater, probably will take a bit, not so long, maybe a day to dry. But there it is. That is all that you're going to do. Now you might notice, put this down because of, okay, there we go. I can put it down. I didn't want any of this food coloring to stain my surfaces. You might notice this is smooth, and on this one I have almost like a block pattern. And what I did there was I took a carpet, these non-slip rug things, I don't know what you call this, a non-slip rug thing. It's the stuff you put under your rug so it doesn't slip. And what I can do and have done is to place it over the top. Just match up these little areas here over the top, and then kind of press it down a little bit with my brush while it's still wet, and it takes on this sort of little block pattern. So if you want that block pattern, you can do this with anything. You can put down bottle tops, you can put down maybe heart shapes, maybe if you have keys, or maybe even things like little washers that you could put down, anything that will leave an imprint, pennies, you know, anything that you feel you want to put down to leave that sort of imprint, you can do. I have another one here. You'll see on, I don't know if you can see, but on this green piece here, I have a little block pattern as well. It's a larger block. It's a table mat. So yeah, you can do anyway. So we're going to leave this one to dry for probably until tomorrow. But in the meantime, I can carry on. I'm going to put that away, put some of these things to the side, and add some more to this quilt. And then what I thought of doing afterwards, once all the pieces are together, because I want to make it as big as this cutting board, because that I feel will be big enough, if I were to place this in the middle, to cover this entire composition book cover. Oh gosh, that almost went. Okay, so let's see. I unfortunately got a bit of fabric tack down here and you can see it. So I'm going to cover it with another piece. So I'm going to get a clean brush. I'm also just going to use my white glue. Get that down there. And cover some of that fabric tack. And I'm not worried if there's any bits coming up, because I'm going to sew this almost like a quilt. Okay, let's get another piece. Oh, you know what I don't have here is this one, which I haven't cut up yet. So let me get my scissors out, cut this one up. What I did with this one is, instead of, so I put down the 2 layers of the wet wipes, and then a napkin, and then only did I put the tea bags. So there's a little bit of pattern coming through, but not a whole bunch. But I did that with this one. I tried it there and there. It's okay, it's not bad. But I think I'm just going to put this down here. Let's put down quite a bit of glue and slip it under there. There we go, that'll work. Nice. Alright, so that section is actually already done. I now just have to move my way up here and up there. So what's next? What should we do? Maybe some blue in here. Let's do the blue. And I tried to have the side with the tea bag showing up, because I feel like that's the side with the most texture, and I like the texture. Okay, so that's down. What's next? Let's try green over here. Okay, a little bit of green, a little bit of glue. Like that. Okay, what should we put here? More of this, I think. How big should that be? Maybe just like that. Probably don't need such a big piece. There we go. Okay, I can slip that one in there, right? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I can do that. Let's put it on top. Okay, like this. I really love how this quilt is so haphazard and yet has a character of its own. You know, some people might say, "Ah, Celeste, you're stretching that one a little bit," but it does. I feel like it has taken on a character of its own. I might have to overlap a red on a red here. There's so little green. Let's rather overlap the green. That may not be as noticeable. Let's see, like this. There we go. I think that's not as noticeable since the greens are different colors. Okay, what do we do here? Red? Yeah, let's do a red here, and then, or maybe we do a red here and a blue there. Something like that, right? Let's just do something like that. Okay, there goes. There, like that. And down it goes. Almost there, guys. Just a little bit more. And I'm maybe have a slightly different blue here, so maybe I can slip it in on the side. You can see this one also had that little grid pattern. I'll put that in there. Probably can, there's a couple of little loose bits, so I'll glue that down like that. All right, so I have one little spot here, and I think I'm just going to do this, but let's take some of it off. We don't need quite as much, and I'll put it in here. All right, and then this quilt needs just a little bit of time to dry before I can run it through my sewing machine, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so while we wait for the larger quilt to dry so that I can sew it, I mentioned earlier that I sometimes use napkins, so I thought it's an opportunity for me just to quickly show you how that might turn out, because that's a nice paper as well to work with. What did I do with my glue? Oh, there it is. So it's the exact same process. A little bit of a recap of what we did just now is I've got some glue going down with this, because it's definitely wetting the wet wipe. Wetting the wet wipe helps to get the glue to, seems like it spreads easier. I guess because maybe it adheres to the plastic tray. I don't know. And guys, plastic definitely is the thing that works the best. I have tried metal trays, I've tried wax paper, and the metal tray worked, the wax paper didn't. This just stuck to the wax paper, which is kind of made me feel silly afterwards because it's paper on paper and there's glue involved, so of course it's going to stick. But yeah, so plastic trays are definitely the way to go, and it can be one of these. I got lucky and got these little ones at the dollar store, but the bigger ones are fine too. The sort of picnic style larger trays. Tin foil I think probably would work, I would imagine. Let's see, I think I've gotten maybe enough glue on here. I don't think so. All right, so I'm going to give it a bit of a spray because the napkin can then adhere. So I've got a napkin that will now go down, and just be a little bit more gentle because it is a tissue paper and it's not going to be happy if I am a bit too harsh with it. So I'm going to wet it just a little bit to get it to lie down. Then just maybe go in one direction. And you're going to use a little extra glue here because you need it to spread. And the more glue you've got, the easier the spread is. Otherwise it will tear. But if you can get your hands on one of those gallon bottles of the liquid glue, it does work out quite a bit cheaper than if you were just to buy those little single bottles. I usually buy, I don't know, probably once or twice a year. I think there are somewhere here in the US, there's somewhere around $10–11 for a gallon. So it's not too bad. Okie dokie, so I think I've got that down. And now I have these sort of ruby colored, I think this was an orange rooibos, blood orange rooibos. So this is going to definitely affect the color of your final product. So you might want to use a black tea or chai tea or another black tea type, which will keep, well, it won't keep the color. It'll so that your color of your tea bag is also going to affect the color of your final piece of paper. But I think it adds character. I love the idea of having all these layers, and once it's dry, I want to show you an idea what you could do with a piece like this. Eesh. You just really get this glue down. Oh my gosh, stop doing that. Maybe if I go this way. Yeah, lifting. Nope, don't lift. All right, so that now has to dry, and we can do the reveal on this one when we come back with the cover for that journal. So once this guy is dry, where did it go? Yeah, it's big enough to fold and sew into a little bag like this, just like that, a little. So you can use this as a gift bag. I've decided to put my tissues into it, and this could just be a nice little gift. Maybe you want to put something else in here, I don't know what, but, or a gift box. This could be the wrapping for a gift box that's this shape, or you can sew it to be the shape of your gift box. And so that, I think, could look nice as a little pocket envelope like this as well. So I really just folded it over, sewed along, including the bottom, and I probably can tie it down with a ribbon, or maybe put in a little clasp button of some kind. So let's put this aside, and I will come back and do a reveal of both of this and the quilt when they dry. Okay, you guys, so the paper quilt is dry, or the glue is dry, and I sewed lines, just straight stitch lines along probably 2.5 to 3 inch intervals. I'm not a very good seamstress, so some of my lines are a little skew. But that's okay. And then again, just across this way, so I've got some vertical and then some horizontal straight line stitching. What I'm going to do now is flip it over, get my composition book cover and place it down. I think I don't know what I want for my front. I suppose it's not really going to matter. I like this, so let me, you know what, doesn't matter because I can decide later. I'm going to put this down and just start cutting these corners so that it fits a bit better, like this. And oh dear, I think I went a bit too close there, but I'm going to put, that's fine. It's okay. Okay, now flip this over. And I have some packing tape, this slightly stronger packing tape, because I'm feeling some resistance. This is a thicker paper to work with. So I'm going to go over, maybe I'll do this in sections. Give me one sec to cut little pieces. Okay, so let's see. I've got this piece. Hold that down. Then that piece. Okay, I think that should hold. Like that. Okay, I'll go and do this side. I hope this works. I don't remember what I did when I did my first one, because it's been a number of years since I made that other one. And I don't know if I had any tips and tricks that I didn't record, so I guess we'll see. We'll see if this works. I hope so, because it took a lot of work to get to this point, and it would be sad, you know, if it doesn't quite work out. But let's see. Okay, gonna go over skidovers and get that down. There we go. Yeah, it's quite thick. It's definitely going to need a, you know, stronger than just a regular tape that you would tape wrapping paper with. I think you're going to need packing tape for sure. Yeah, that's working. Okay, I'm going to cut a slit there. Cut myself a slit there. And let's get this other, oh, lost my end. Oh no, I lost the end. Oh, don't you hate it when you do that? There, I found it. Okay. Let's get this. Go like that. Get myself a piece of this tape. Trying to be quick because I don't. There we go. Okay, that's done. I'll get this one. This one down. Okay, you guys, I will go off and finish this and get it nice and neat and get some extra tape down, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. All right, you guys, so I've decided that I want this to be my front. Again, I don't think it really matters right now because I can still turn it around. There's no directional push here, and I have taped it. It's not coming undone. There's so much tape. But what I've gone and done is cut myself 2 pieces of cardstock, just a thinnish cardstock, and it's just big enough to fit on this inside page, because I obviously want to hide all of this patchwork of tape and whatnot. So I'm going to start. I have 2 of them. I have one for each side. Get some of this Aleene's tacky glue down, because I really don't want any of this to come undone. And it is it's making the worst sounds. I'm sorry. Saying, why are you making me work? You're making me work. Oh gosh. Okay, so let me put this upside down over here so it doesn't make those rude sounds again. This way, I want the textured side to the top, so I'm going to maneuver it. I've cut it a little bit in from the inside, gusset, but I do want to cover as much edge to edge over here as I can. And I think I did that. Let's get that kind of squeezed down. The one thing about journaling or junk journaling and handmade books is that it doesn't have to be perfect. I really struggled with that in the beginning because I kept thinking, oh, this is not straight, and you know, these colors don't match, or I really gave myself, I was hard on myself in the beginning, and it's the more I think about it now, the more I think the imperfections is what makes it unique. If there are any imperfections, they don't have to be, but if there are, and okay, we do the same on the side. I get it as far to the edge as I can. Hopefully I'm not going over. I guess if I do go over, I can maybe patch it with a ribbon or lace or something. I don't think I'm over on the edges here. And I'm trying not to get glue on everything. I've got it on myself. Okay, so I'm using the tacky glue because it adheres quickly. All right, so that is down. And so my last little bit is to put some, because these corners aren't sharp, I am going to put corners on here and finish it off. So let us get some glue in here. Uh-oh. Glue in there. And see if I can do this without messing up. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Says me as I put it in backwards. Put this in. Here we go. And squish that down. Okay, that is pretty okay. I think that works. Let's get the next one in. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on this journey with me, you guys. It's been a bit of a it's a bit of a process, but it's definitely worth it. I think by the time I get to the end of this project, I feel like it was well worth it to make this cover, because I don't, it's just so unique and pretty and handmade, and everything about it is almost bohemian, almost boho, which I really love as well. Okay, let's go for our third corner. Okie dokie. Let me not go in there. Oh, what is sticking? Something sticking. There we go. I'm in, and then I just have to, gosh, got this stuff everywhere. Squish it down, and it's in. There we go. Last corner. Oh gosh, it's just so bright and vibrant and pretty. So I'm trying to get glue off my fingers so I don't spread the glue to each of the other sides. I'm probably putting too much glue in here, but you know, I have trust issues with glue. I just want to make sure that I have enough. Uh-oh. No. Start again. That it won't come undone. Okay. All the others went so well. Why is this one giving me a hard time? Okay, squish it down. Trying not to get so much glue on everything. but I'm doing it anyway. I might have to just come in with a Q-tip and a little bit of alcohol and get some of this glue off here. But I think for the most part, you guys, we're cooking. It's working. I almost sound out of breath. I'm not. But yes, it is on. It is. I'm going to straighten this guy out. There we go. All right, it is done as far as a cover is concerned. Obviously, I'm now going to work on making the inside signatures and putting a centerpiece down here, and probably, because this is a little bland, it's just plain old blank blue, probably put a whole bunch of stuff on the inside covers, but it turned out beautifully. I'm very, very happy. Okay, so this guy's done. I'm going to put him there. These other two that we made, it's not 100% dry, so I should probably just leave it a little bit longer. We're at the end of it all. It was a bit of a process to get this done, so thank you for I think I did say thank you, but thank you again for joining me as we made this cover. It was a lot of fun to make, and I think it turned out really beautifully, so I am very happy with it. These two that we also made, when I pulled this one off the tray, I realized that this end was just plain white wet wipe, and it wasn't super interesting, so I decided to glue just another of these napkins onto this side, because now when I go ahead and sew it into that little pocket, it's when I open it up, it has some interest on the inside instead of just being a white wet wipe on the inside. So that was just something. And then with this one, when I pulled it off, the grid line didn't really show up too well. I'll bring it up a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see it. And I think what might have happened here is that this is a thinner wet wipe, and I mentioned earlier on in the video that I prefer those thicker Huggies wet wipes, and I think they have a little bit of cushioning and quilting of their own, so when I'm embossing onto this handmade paper, it has a better effect. So just something to consider when you make your own. They're great. The thinner wet wipes are great, but any embossing, you probably want the thicker ones. Okay, well, there it is. Thank you so much for visiting with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.